All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and today's guest. I want to introduce you guys to Ahrar Ahman out in, didn't even ask you what part of the world that you're in right now.
I'm in
California, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
interestingly enough, Corona, California, which in my reality corresponds to the crown chakra.
Love it. It just popped into my head. I was on Ahrar's Instagram page not too long ago, just a few days ago, and saw the impact that he was making already, and that his intention was to make an impact on humanity. And I'm going to let him share some awesome things with you guys today, and I'm just excited to have this conversation with him. And so without further ado from me, I want to introduce you guys to Ahrar. And if you could just share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, my name is Ahrar Ahmad. I'm from Southern California here, and what I do, that's a big one, especially in light of this knowledge that we have kind of peeled within ourselves. And so what I do is I used to do a lot of things, and I stopped doing those things. But now what I focus on is law of attraction for Muslims.com, which is my own understanding into this movement of consciousness. It was obviously, like I said from the title, it was through law of attraction. And in the beginning, it was just me changing myself and my habits, and becoming a better husband, becoming a better son, becoming a better just a better person, someone that wasn't living in fear all the time, wasn't living in other people's perception of me, which I was allowing to live. So now what I do is I teach this to other people. That definitely, I see a need for it. And I'm a student myself, so I'm learning just like everyone else. I'm in the same boat. It's just I have a different perspective.
Love it. I think that's important for all of us when we realize that we'll be learning the whole time that we're here, if we choose to. I guess we can learn on purpose, and we can learn by default, by just life experience. But that's awesome, and I always am inspired when people choose to take it from just personal knowledge, things that they've become aware of in their life, and then have the inspiration to share and help other people with it, like you have. That always is very inspiring for me. When did you kind of make that shift, and what made you decide that this is something that you wanted to share with other people? And sounds like specifically you're focused on trying to impact the Muslim community as well.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was the I part of me, the ego, the one that's attached to the physical illusion. That part of me had this image that I'm this person and I have to do these things, and it was actually coming from a place of ego. And that shifted also in this whole journey, as I was finding out that that's what I want to do is basically in the beginning it was like not to focus on the Muslim community, but it turned into that, just by happen chance. I grew up with Islam as my base programming, to say, and if I was born on the other side of the track, for example, I would be a different religion, and that would be my introduction to this whole realm. And that's, I think it's important to, especially in this spiritual enlightenment kind of era we're living in. A lot of people, they shun their religious belief, and they it's almost like an anger to it, because I was angry at Muslims. I was angry at Islam because I looked at it as a betrayal. But it wasn't them that did those things to me. It was my own self. It was my own self. And the easiest way for me to explain it is it's through my own experience, and other people that are Muslim, they can experience it in a similar way, because it was the same questions I've had, that I wasn't getting answered from the community, and I had to go within and kind of unearth that. In the process, it just kind of unfolds. It really does.
But was
Yeah.
there that you saw something shift for you where all of a sudden you, you know, become
I,
aware of some things that
I,
help?
definitely. I mean, I think looking back, it wasn't one moment; it was many moments. And as far as it goes back, I mean, I there's even moments now looking back, that moments when I was 10 or 9, it was definitely moments that scarred you, and then those scars, built upon more scars, and the whole process is to go beneath the scar, and the moment for me in my where I knew I had to change, I had to uh there's something else out there that was uh deeper than just how we're living our reality, and we're almost like robots now, and it just I that moment came when about two weeks before the fasting month of Ramadan in 2015. I just was at rock bottom, like really rock bottom in my business, in my health. I had a very poor self-image, self-esteem was low, but I always appeased to other people, and I was 100 and like 75 pounds, 36% body fat, and right now I'm at, I don't know, maybe 10%, 11% or 9%, something like that, and 125 pounds, and I had a total shift. I mean, it didn't happen in one day. It happened in, 3, 4 years, and it was a total shift. But that moment came when I decided that Ramadan that I would actually follow it very methodically. Like I would be a methodical follower of all the sayings of like watch your tongue and don't talk back, and like have uh kind of like have discipline, and pray and meditate, all those things. I was actually doing it because all those other years before, I wasn't really, I was just going along, going to the feast. When we ate, I would just pig out and just eat, and then you know uh, watch TV or do whatever, and then go to the mosque and pray, and then eat more. I was just being unhealthy, and it was affecting my life. And that's happening to billion people across the globe. You know, and when I actually did it that month, the first 10 days was difficult because I didn't eat fried food. I ate like fish only, and vegetables, and like I stayed away from all the sugars and sodas, all those things. I did that for a month, and in that month, I lost 30 pounds. Like literally, I lost 30 pounds of fat and just baggage. And that person that I became was different. I totally transformed. Um, and I didn't want to go back to that. I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe there's something to having discipline and waking up and having gratitude. And then I got into a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I know a lot of people in this self-improvement world. They know what that book is, and I kind of half-heartedly applied those things, continuing on, and I gained the weight again, and then a little bit. I gained a little bit again, but then I realized, you know what? I'm going back to my old habits, and then I started getting into this esoteric knowledge, and I just kept on going deeper and deeper, and I didn't stop, and
Love it.
yeah,
Love it. Love it. Love it. And
and
it's interesting. I'll hear a lot of people's stories, and um, I'm similar in a way as well. Just a lot of us have a rock bottom moment that we could probably think of out there. In the audience, you guys listening, maybe you have one. Hopefully you haven't had to experience one, but we're humans, so that's definitely a part of the human experience for a lot of us. And for me, and it sounds like similar for you, that really, there had to be a change in life because there was just nowhere else to really go from there. And I'm so I feel so blessed that I attracted a book that helped me. The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, came into my experience
mhm.
at a perfect time, because
Oh,
what was making me feel the worst was thinking so much about the future and things I couldn't control, and how am I gonna be at the level of success that I want, and all these things that were just making me feel really bad where I was. Um, And so, no, it's interesting how you had your moment, and then as a result, and I always, it's interesting once we kind of have that moment where we start to allow ourselves to evolve. There's no going back from there. It's just because even when you saw yourself start to slip back, you caught it quicker. You didn't go all the way
Mm.
back to gaining all the weight and all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now do you notice as time goes
Oh
on
gosh.
when you're ready to attract something new or evolve to somewhere different? As you said, we're always learning. It just comes
Yeah.
at perfect timing.
It does, but it does, and it's amazing, this journey. It's because you find out different aspects of yourself, and it's not like there's a constant voice that's keeping you limited, and it's not going to ever go away. It's not going to go away for me, and it's just that it's dwelling on those thoughts that really get me in the past. But in the past, I would just dwell on those thoughts of what that person said, and it just, as soon as I catch them now, especially with Eckhart Tolle, it is, I haven't read his book Power of Now, but many people have told me about it, and um, I do read his quotes, and I listen to his lectures. At one point, I did, and it's just really amazing, the whole thing about your thoughts, and they're not you, and it's just a illusion, and that got me into people like Eckhart Tolle and Sadhguru, and all these talks about the thought, and that ego, and that deceiving self. It got me into the structure, and it got me into, you know because my energy, which I found out, which I realized my sole purpose was to teach this. And to be a teacher, I had to go to all the different teachings, and what I found was that they're all the same. They all say the same thing. They all have the same stories. It's just told in their cultural way of those people that understood it at the time. And now, we live in a time where, it needs scientific proof, and it needs um, to catch your attention, and all these things. And there is a science behind that. It gets into your chakras and your energy, and it's just wow. It's just it's a never-ending journey, and no one can say they know it all. Because the thing that's saying it all is the ego itself. It can never know it all.
Absolutely, absolutely. What I find fascinating about life is when we're connected with those energies, those frequencies of, call it love, call it happiness, call it joy,
Mm-hmm.
call it even at peace and content. Just anywhere where we can, honestly self-reflect and say, I feel good in this moment. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in those moments, we're able to, when we're reading something or hearing something, or listening to something or speaking to someone, we can feel truth, that something that resonates with us in those frequencies, because it's a match to that frequency of love. So if I'm
Oh
feeling
yeah.
love and I read something that's speaking about love, then regardless of, like you're mentioning, regardless of what spiritual text it might have been in or what time frame it was written in, that's going to resonate with me, because that's the frequency that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then at the same time, if something's talking about fear, judgment, all things that there's just, they don't resonate the same with me, if that's not the frequency that I'm wanting to feel, that I'm wanting to be in. So I agree, like there's so many different places that information can come from, and inspiration can come from, that will help us on our journey. I think the key for most of us is just being open to it, and being excited for the next part of our adventure of life to kind of unfold. And we really can't predict how it's going to happen, or when, or where, who's going to be involved, or any of that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
when we're open to it, it will definitely come in the perfect timing, is what I've normally found. So
Yeah, definitely. How about, have you looked into different, I guess you could say, reality blueprints? Different people that have talked about different structure of reality, and how to, not, I would say, like manipulate it. So I guess you can say yes, manipulate it, but manipulation has such a bad connotation to it that it just sounds bad, but it's not. In a manipulation, as in like manipulate it to resonate, to raise its vibration, not to lower it. Because a lot of things, everything is manipulation, but most of the time, the manipulation is to manipulate you to keep you at a certain um, energy exchange where you give energy out and the thing you get back in return is doesn't match because what you were projecting was a wanting or not having or whatever, a lower frequency, and you're going to get back that same frequency. And it's just have you looked into different systems?
So for so I've attracted lots of different information from different retreats that I've been on. Like I went on a retreat with Dr. Joe Dispenza, which was really interesting.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is awesome.
where I mean,
Wow.
even at one point, like I had the little EEG, little brain stems like on me, like showing energy. I had the little
Joe Dispenza.
heart map. Yeah,
Wow.
that was a good one. That opened my eyes up to a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
he's incredible. I mean,
yeah,
I binged on, see, I for 5 years now, or how long it's been, I've been binging on. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I was in Moldova, which is Eastern Europe, for 4 months in 2017 and 18. It wasn't a retreat, but it became a retreat, And I just binged on literally like 12 hours of YouTube content every day for 4 months. And Joe Dispenza was one of them that I would go to, like other people like Panic, and just different things. So you said you were in a retreat. So
yeah,
how was that?
it was awesome. What the biggest thing that I took from that was I started me on my journey of meditation. Before that, it was something that I had done a few times, but never a consistent practice.
Mhm.
By the end of that, I think it was 7 days there. By the end of that, we did I think it was a 4-hour meditation at the end that went by like that. Like it was a guided meditation, and it was just. And I don't meditate for 4 hours every day. I personally, I wake up in the morning, I meditate for about 15 or 20 minutes. Is
Yeah.
my practice. But just to know how powerful we are and to be able to see our energy and
Wow.
that for me is the most important thing because from, even leading up to that point, I just really, my intention is to be aware of what energy I'm bringing into the moment and knowing
Mhm.
that if I'm, might not be like blissful or like, top of the mountain, right now, maybe I am. Those are really fun times.
Mhm.
But I know that as I'm experiencing life, like I'm going to either, pull other human beings up to where I am, or most likely we won't attract into each other's space. Like we'll want to move in our separate directions. And
Mhm.
because I'm aware of my own energy so much, I definitely don't want to, I'm not judging anyone for not feeling their best because we're human. We all have the ability to feel frustrated or worried or anxious or upset or,
Mhm.
depressed or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I know I don't want to experience life that way. So I'm not going to judge someone for it.
Mhm.
But I don't really spend that much time. I notice I don't attract when I'm in a high
Yeah.
vibration. I don't really attract that much
Yeah.
drama, so to speak, around me.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I simplify life to that, just like what can I control in the moment and just being
Mhm.
aware of it. And if I'm not feeling my best, not
Mhm.
making myself wrong for it, but just asking
Yeah.
myself, you know,
Yeah.
how can I improve
Definitely.
this?
Wow. Did you, what changed a lot for me was when I realized I carried a lot of guilt, within me. And we live in a culture and a society where like guilt is put upon us, like it's like the main thing was when I started changing my diet and the way I ate and how, even the thoughts I've had when I'm eating, I changed all that. And it's like the people that didn't change it, they almost place a guilt upon you that you changed and they're not. But that guilt is actually something that, because of it's a thought that we allow it to take hold, and when I dropped a lot of the guilt that I carried, I felt like a new person, and you should never feel guilty for, raising your vibration. because in the end, you keep on that vibration, you're gonna automatically tear down other people's low vibe just by you being around, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I love, like, when you walk into a room, I love the analogy of, like, you either brighten the room or dim the room. You know, when we walk
Wow.
in, we bring our energy. Um, and I've seen it so many times. Like, I'll make an intention, especially because we all have different relationships with people in our life. Maybe it's, family members or friends, people that we've known a long time,
Mhm.
where they knew all of us before we had this, like, awakening. and, and so there's like a practice way of, like, being in that relationship. And even though we've decided that we want something different for ourselves,
Mhm.
I make it a point with those relationships to bring the absolute best version of myself, to the point of being, almost just playful with them. Like, I just want to be in such a good mood before I enter
Yeah.
those situations, because one of two things are going to happen. They're either going to join me in the fun, or, for those moments, they're just not going to want to be around. Like, they'll have a business call that they have to make, or, like, and and if they know that that's going to be my mood, like,
Mhm.
they'll
Mhm.
join me when they're in a better mood themselves. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to join in the
Yeah.
old way, where we used to, talk about, our problems or things that's going wrong in the world, or complaining or worried about the future, or things
Oh,
that
yeah.
I don't choose to personally think about anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I won't lower that on purpose to, to go back to. So that's a challenge that I notice a lot of us have, because of,
Oh, yeah.
people we've known for years.
You're talking about that loneliness, that the feeling of where you don't have any friends anymore. But the thing is, you just when you raise yourself, you just can't be on the same dimension. It's a literal, like, I look at reality as just it's just a it's an illusion. Yes, it's an illusion. Doesn't mean you know that there's all these constructs, but those constructs your higher mind created, and understanding the constructs, understanding that you are the higher mind. It's just you have to kind of, like, it's like inner traveling. For example, time. Time is a man-made construct. It's made by humans. It's not divine. It's just a measure of change. I don't want to get into that, but what I'm saying is, to be under the construct is to be a slave of it and always be like, oh my God, I'm getting old, I'm gonna die, or I don't have time for this, or you're always kind of thinking that time is going away and you're gonna lose something, but you always had everything. But the thing is, when you go beyond time, uh, then you are the creator of time, and you created it for yourself, so you can master this structure. And that's what I came into that realization for myself. And now, before I was the slave of time, always worried about things. Now it's like it's a partner. It helps me now to manifest my reality. And these energies are different constructs. We need discipline. We need all these kind of things, but it doesn't mean it's when it's done in the correct light, in a higher light, then that discipline becomes, it becomes almost like a meditation. It becomes something you look forward to. you know
Absolutely. You said two things here that inspired me a lot. I'm going to hit on both of them. And the first thing, see which one I want to talk about first. Let's just talk about the one with time. Because once I realized, and like Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, started my realization of this, and it's just evolved over the years. That realization for me with Eckhart Tolle was a little over 10 years ago now. And it's
wow.
just been an evolution since then. Um, I'd already been introduced to the law of attraction, but just because we're introduced to something doesn't mean you just, like, have it and can
Mhm.
apply it. And doesn't mean you just change right away. Like, it's constant
Yeah.
evolution for us as long as we're here on this earth.
Yeah.
But that was my introduction to time, and knowing that there's only one time, and it's now, the
Yeah. Yeah.
eternal moment of now. Because even as we build our futures, quote unquote, we're going to do it now, and then now, and then now, and then, we look up, and
Yeah.
then, yeah, it's 2020, but we've still done it moment by moment. And so that gave me so much peace, because all I have to think about is how well can I live this moment right now, and how much can I put my full energy into this moment of right now, which actually leads into the second thing that you inspired me to say. Um, I, I've chosen, because knowing that there's 7.7 billion of us on this planet, when it comes to quote unquote friends and loneliness, I never feel lonely on this planet, because everybody that I decide to spend any time with, and I'm putting any attention into doing anything, it could be a conversation like this. It could be waiting across the street, and then all of a sudden, I'm just joking with someone that's right here, for 30 seconds. But in the
Yeah.
moments that I'm spending any time or attention with any human being, that's my friend right there, because that's the only experience of life that truly exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when I see the people I grew up with, when I go back, home, I'm in Florida now. I'm from California, up in the Bay Area. I'm going to go home for the holiday. Yeah, in those moments, and I'm spending time with them, those are my friends right then. But it's just, for me, it's always, again, just like the eternal moment of now, when it comes to spending time on this planet. If I'm choosing to spend my time with anyone, whether it's for 1 minute or a whole day, that's the only relationship that really matters to me in that moment, because that's where I am. That's where I'm spending my time and my energy. So I feel like that's probably a different outlook than most have, but it makes me
Yeah.
have a lot of peace, because it's just, yeah.
You basically, well, the loneliness thing is, it's weird, because you can be stuck in the loneliness, which I was stuck, being like, when I thought about it, when I dwelled upon, like, oh, I don't have friends, they're not talking to me. But it's like, that was just my old self trying to reattach, those thoughts, and not continue on, changing of the self all the time, death of the ego all the time, uh, basically, once you realize everything is one, then yeah, you're right. You can have deeper relationships, and even, you can even think about something in the past, or think about something now that connects you to the past. It's all one gook of energy, the past, the present, the future. It's all now, and it's just, you can have conversations with anything, because it's all one energy. And it's it is a interesting kind of life to live in that perspective, you know, to say
Absolutely.
the least. Definitely.
Absolutely. I've told many people over the past several years, that were, especially since I've been a single guy by choice since January of 2016, and really just enjoying just the adventure of life. I like being single, and that may change, and I might evolve and want something different in the future. Who knows?
Hmm.
But everybody that I've spent time with, every woman that I've spent time with in the past, since I've been single, the
Hmm.
one promise that I make to anyone is, when I'm choosing to spend time with them,
Hmm.
and they choose to spend time with me, obviously it takes two for people to want to hang out.
Hmm.
They get 100% of me. Like, I'm not worried about what's going on my phone, because really there's nothing that could be going on out here that is going to be more fun than hanging out with a real person for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so 100% of me. And then if, tomorrow I choose to go, spend time at the gym, or spend time at the beach, or working, or doing
Hmm.
whatever, I'm going to give 100% to that, because that's the beautiful thing about being free. For all of us, we get to choose where to spend those moments of life, and the only moments that are promised to us being right now. So
Hmm.
if I could give 100% to that moment, then I'm going to get the best, I'm going to have the most fun in that moment, the most
Hmm.
fulfillment, whatever it is that I'm choosing to do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy living life that way. It'd be boring if there was just like 5 of us on this planet. Like, I like that there's so
Yeah.
many of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's really, I never thought myself to even think like this, but you can't, because how can old version, I have parts of that old version, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just a amazing kind of experiences, and I chose to I have a certain identity, of myself and what I want to manifest, and based on that identity that I kind of want, or not want, but that I want to become. um, certain habits have to happen, and certain, you can take certain fashion styles and whatnot, and but it becomes authentic. It's just kind of, it looks, everything looks good on you, everything kind of fits you because you are coming at it not lacking in something. It's just, it becomes a part of you. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And any,
absolutely.
it's not from a point of like, oh, I need this so I can feel better about myself. It just comes to you, and because it's a part of you, and it's going to make you feel good. It's not that.
You already feel like that's who you are, and you're just
Yeah.
evolving into it as
Yeah.
as time goes. That's what I sense from what you're sharing. I
Yeah.
could,
Yeah. And people, if they when they choose to make their own journey and start their own journey and really make a commitment to themselves, not just be interested in change, but committed to it. Because if you're interested in, like John Ashraf, one of my mentors, uh, taught me, was that, if you are interested in changing yourself or your situation, anything in life, versus being committed to it, it's a big difference. When you're interested, you will, you'll do only until it's comfortable. When it gets uncomfortable, you'll revert back to your old self. But if you're committed to changing, then you'll do whatever it takes. You'll talk to anybody. You'll become that person that won't be shy, or you become confident. You'll become that person. You'll do anything it takes. That's the
absolutely.
difference.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you a question that you're kind of starting to share, and just going to invite you to expand on this wherever you want it to go. But the question I've been asking everybody that's come on here, and the reason that I started sharing on the internet in the first place was, like you mentioned, a lot of great mentors through this conversation, and there's been so many people that I've attracted information from them into my life over the years that have helped me on my journey. So I asked myself a few years back, had I shared the things that I've become aware of that maybe someone might, stumble upon on the internet 10 years from now, and it could benefit them on their journey. And it gave me a lot of peace once I had begun to share these things, because tomorrow's not promised to any of us. And I just wanted to make sure that I did, my part, so to speak, while I was here. And so anything that you would want the listeners to know that you've become aware of, thus far on your journey, that no matter when they're attracted to this episode of this podcast, you feel would benefit them on their journey once they became aware of it for them.
It's kind of a cliche, but I think, what I've realized is that it really is about gratitude. It's gratitude is really deep. It's not just something you can't just pay lip service to being grateful for your car. Okay, it's, if you're grateful for your car, you're gonna change the oil. You're not just gonna get. You're gonna pay attention to it. You're gonna learn about the car. If you're really grateful to, if you really love something and you're grateful for it, then you will. Then it requires an action. It requires you to show your gratitude to that thing. So being grateful for, just breathing. Being grateful for whatever situation you have. If you're watching this podcast, then that means you have an internet connection. You have a computer. You have some kind of device that allows you to hear and see us. That's a lot to be grateful for. Just to have that as a baseline, that means you have, some kind of shelter. So there's a lot to be grateful for. So if you are grateful for all the things you have, even the little things, and you're showing gratitude to it, then it automatically raises your vibration, because you are being excellent in all these things. You're going to be excellent in your breathing, as in you're going to feed yourself things that give you energy because you're grateful for your body. So you're going to show your gratitude by serving it in a higher way. All these kind of things. You can take that into anything: your car, your spouse, your apartment, your job, whatever you have. Everything is gratitude.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a really great reminder for everyone. And just piggybacking on that, we whatever frequency and vibration that we are in, that we consistently are, is what we attract more of to ourselves. And so being grateful for the things that we have puts us in the vibration to where those things that we desire, we're a magnet to those and can start to see those attracted to us as well. Or the idea that we need, you know, when we're being grateful for what we have, then that's when we have the idea for, you know, oh, this is how I could go create what it is that I want. And then you can take the action steps towards that. And it's just how it always is. Like, I haven't heard many stories where someone was just like cursing the life that they live, everything they had. Like, I don't appreciate any of this. And then in that moment, they got the idea to go set themselves free. Like, I haven't heard that story yet. So, yeah, gratitude.
That was me. That you just described me, you know, in the past. In the past.
For sure.
Also being grateful for the things to come, you know, before you even have it. You're already grateful for it. So it's like everything is one, you know. It's just a really interesting life, you know. It just, things happen and you're always at awe, you know, and you're always grateful.
Absolutely. That, I don't want to just sweep over that either. Very powerful what you just said, as far as being grateful for the things before we can even see them physically manifested. That is, if you want anybody out there listening, you want to, you know, create whatever, a relationship, health, financial goals, anything in life, if you can feel the vibration and frequency of what that will be as if it's already happening now, and live your life in that frequency as much as possible.
Oh yeah.
The ways for it to manifest have to show up. Like, you'll start to have synchronicities happening all the time. Like, if you're living that way, then physical reality has to match your energy. So very, very,
and the thing is, it's like, it doesn't matter what the masses think, you know. It's actually what they if I'm judging people, and if I'm always in judgment mode, oh, they're not doing it right and this and that, then actually that is me projecting my insecurities on them, you know. And it's always from within. And that thing about being grateful without even having it yet in the physical, it gets into quantum physics and thought. And if you can imagine it, and you can see yourself, you know, on the stage in front of 1,000 people giving something, you know, you feel it. It's like, it's a vision, it's light, it's a in your mind, you know. That is divine, you know. To me, that is a real dimension, that is a real wave. And the more you concentrate on that wave, quantum physics says now, the more you concentrate on that wave, it's going to collapse, you know. And then it's like, it's over here, it's going to start collapsing, and it's going to be at the point where you're talking in front of 1,000 people, you know. It just happens. And it's just, you have to have intent and laser like focus, and just kind of become that person that you envision yourself to be. Don't do it tomorrow, just start doing it now. How is that version of you that is a top producer in their corporation and has an amazing family life and travels and whatnot, how does that person feel? How does that person eat? Does that person get into arguments over politics? Does that person always criticize other people? No, I guarantee you that person does not, you know. So you have to stop those things. And when you stop them, and then you have a shift in your own paradigm, reality becomes a higher reality. You can see how you can formulate your own reality based on your thoughts, and based on, you know, that's why meditation is important. And then, you know, you say you meditate for 15 minutes. I bet you, when you're working out or when you are cooking, you're meditating, you know?
Yeah, so many parts. When I'm taking a shower, and
everything is meditation.
For sure.
You know, just 95% of the time you're in your subconscious mind. And if you can program your subconscious mind into being in that state of structure and meditation, then your whole life is going to be one big meditation into manifesting something, you know?
Absolutely. That's interesting you pointed that out, because I noticed the times in life where good ideas will pop into my mind, and it can be like, I could be out walking on the beach, I could be doing so many different things, but yeah, that is definitely, because that happens a lot during actual, meditation. So uh,
Yeah.
very similar, for sure. Just when because in those moments you're just content, like you're not worried about. I mean, I guess you could be taking a shower, which for me is just relaxing, and
Hmm.
or you could be taking a shower and worrying about, I got to hurry up and get out of here and go do this
Yeah.
stuff. So then it's not
Yep.
going to be so much meditation, but
Yeah.
I guess anything that we do, we can choose to do it in that vibration where it could be like a meditation, or we could do
Hmm.
it, rushing to the next thing because we're not in the present, moment.
Yeah. Like, with the whole, attracts like, we, in the past, I can say I was focusing on what I don't want to happen. I was focusing on not doing this. And the thing was, all those things were happening because I was focusing on it. I was collapsing the wave. See, I was thinking about it in the quantum realm, focusing on it in the quantum realm, and it would hit that wave. It hit that reality, which was what I didn't want to happen happens. And it's like, I used to like race cars, like autocross and things like that. Very amateur level. And when you're sliding, and you're sliding in Michigan, for example, when it's snowing and your car's fishtailing, you're supposed to look at where you want to go. You don't look at, see, you have to look at where you want to go, regardless of the back going out. Because if you focus on where you want to go, you're going to steer in that direction, and it's going to correct itself,
That's such a
and
good analogy.
that's how it is. It's like you look where you want to go, you just keep your eye on the ball. That's what it's saying is keep your eye on that vision, and just really have tunnel vision, you know, because that is the direct path of least resistance when you envision it.
Absolutely.
Synchronicities will happen, You just have to kind of let go of your uh, limited egotistical 0.04% of the light spectrum vision, and let the higher self kind of take over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great conversation and great analogy with the fishtailing. Like that highlights, anything that's going on right now in our lives is really past tense because of the vibrations, thoughts, actions that we performed in the past has led to what's happening right now. So in the fishtailing example, like your car is fishtailing. So it's your past action of how you were steering, approaching that road that has you right now fishtailing. So what are you going to do? You're going to keep focusing on the fishtailing, which will make you fishtail more and probably crash,
Yeah.
or focus
Yeah.
on where you want to go and steer it in that direction. That's
Mhm.
analogy for life right there. Great analogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this is awesome. Really enjoyed this conversation. If there's anything that you want to share with the audience as far as things you have going into 2020 or right now that you're excited about, definitely follow along on social media with Ahrar and see his journey. It's one of the coolest parts of us all being connected here in the social media world right now, as we can see what each other are creating and support each other and all those things. So you'll see all this information here in the description. Anything you want to share with the audience as far as you're excited about right now that you're involved in?
Oh yeah, just creating things from my higher mind to manifest in the physical, and just definitely, I'm gonna definitely turn up my intensity and my focus on my social media, and creating content, tools that help people, and that these things that help me, and I gotta share it. That it's my right to share it, and uh, if you follow my social media and you look in my past post, my first post, you can see me talking about these things and being really nervous. That's not the same me 4 years ago. And it's interesting. I've been making videos for that long, and it just happened. And you see the person that was talking and you see the person now, it's a totally different person. That just shows to you that it's possible for you. If someone like me can transform my life, knowing this knowledge, really becoming a seeker of transformation, seeker of higher intent, not just mere basicness. If you want to say basic, that's fine. But people that are listening to you, they're not basic. You're not basic. You're so unique. You have been, your higher self basically beckoned you to know, and you have to pay attention to that voice more by really understanding that it is now. it's now or never. That's basically true. And
Absolutely.
yeah, just follow my the post, and if it benefits you, I'm really thankful and grateful that it has. And if it hasn't resonated, then that's fine with me too. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, no, this has been awesome. And I just want to thank you for your time and sharing it with the audience. And I know this will definitely benefit many people. And that's the beautiful thing about also sharing it on the internet. You don't know when it's going to happen, like right when it launches, and then somebody could stumble upon this podcast episode 10 years from now. Like that was the one that shifted it all for me. So,
the bulletin boards. Remember the bulletin boards back in the day?
Absolutely.
97. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Awesome.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys out there for tuning into another episode of Enlighten the Conversations. Appreciate the love and support. Keep sharing this, and anybody that you were inspired to share this episode with, definitely do so. It wasn't a coincidence that they popped into your mind. And continue to rate and review these podcasts, and we'll keep sharing the love and light around the world and talking with more awesome guests like Ahrar today. So thank you guys. Have an amazing, amazing day. Sending positive vibes to you all wherever you are in the world, and we'll talk to you real soon.
All right, bye.
Awesome. That was fun.
Great.
Yeah,
it was fun. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that was good. It's very interesting where it flows. Like I never know where the conversation is going to flow.